Two injured by falling tree as heavy rain hits Hong Kong. Lawmakers reject the use of special LegCo powers to probe tainted water scare. And a traffic stop that led to a jail death in the United States.
Good evening. The amber rainstorm warning was in force for almost 12 hours today as heavy rain pounded Hong Kong. And in the mid-levels, 2 people were injured after they were hit by a falling tree. They're in stable condition. Liz Yun reports.
At around noon today, this tree fell on Bonham Road and blocked traffic. It was about 30 meters tall with a 2-meter diameter and set on top of a wall. 2 passers-by, a foreign woman and a local man, were injured by the falling tree. The man was trapped and had to be freed by firefighters. Both victims suffered head injuries and remained conscious as they were sent to Queen Mary Hospital. The driver of this van said he heard a loud bang when the tree fell. He realized the topo tree had landed just behind his vehicle. Afterwards, there was debris on the road and part of the wall was damaged. A number of residents at a nearby building were evacuated. Some clothing racks and windows were damaged. A tree expert identified the tree as a Chinese banyan aged over 100 years old. He suspects construction work in the area might have damaged the roots of the tree. He also thinks heavy rainfall and strong winds might have contributed to today's incident.
The amber rainstorm warning signal was in place for almost 12 hours before it got cancelled at 3:30 in the afternoon. But an active southwesterly airstream continues to bring heavy rain and squally thunderstorms to the city.
Here, flooding hit Pak Fu Lam village. Firefighters were on hand to offer assistance to affected residents and businesses. The observatory says almost 300 millimeters of rain was recorded in the western part of Hong Kong Island. Liz Yun, TVB News.
To the latest now, the tainted water scare. Lawmakers today voted against the use of special LegCo powers to investigate the matter. Here's Rani Samtani.
Secretary for Transport and Housing Anthony Cheung admitted today that the scope of the water contamination problem could be bigger than originally expected.
3 estates are found to have excessive lead in water, involving 3 different contractors and 3 different licensed plumbers. And we find that there is a systemic problem. So whether it's in the task force led by the deputy director or the review committee under the HA, we will both look at the system itself.
At the special housing panel meeting, several lawmakers criticized the government for being too slow in dealing with the issue.
For those who are found to have excessive lead in their blood, how would you help them? It seems that the government is trying to whitewash the entire incident. When it's confirmed that there is excessive lead in the water, it sent tenants into a panic because they're all worried that it would affect their units as well. Then why did you not test the water in all the units?
Democratic Party lawmaker Wu Chi-wai moved a motion to set up a select committee using the Legislative Council Powers and Privileges Ordinance to investigate the matter.
The mandate of the Commission of Inquiry on paper does not include to find out who is responsible for the whole lead water saga. So I think it is very important that Legislative Council to use our platform to form a committee so that we can unearth what causes this water contamination and who should bear the responsibility.
But the motion was rejected with 8 in favor and 10 against. Helena Wong said she will put in another request to invoke the Powers and Privileges Ordinance to investigate the water contamination scandal after the summer break. Rani Samtani, TVB News.
Two Mun Hospital has admitted to a medical blunder involving a test for liver disorders. The male and female reference values were swapped, but the hospital has sought to play down the incident, saying the chances of patients' health being affected are low. The blunder involved nearly 9,500 patients. It was uncovered by Two Mun Hospital earlier this month. A machine that checks people's alkaline phosphatase, or ALP, levels had its reference values for the two genders swapped in tests for patients above 60 years of age. For males, the normal range for the enzyme is between 56 and 119, while for females it's between 53 and 141. This means some men who had slightly elevated ALP levels may have been deemed within the normal range. The hospital is suggesting some 230 patients to go back for a blood test or book an earlier follow-up consultation than scheduled. Still, the hospital insists the health risk is low.
When doctors assess the patient, the most important value is the value of the alkaline phosphatase itself. In this case, I want to emphasize once again that the value itself is accurate. So already the accurate information has been provided to the doctors involved.
He added that doctors have to examine patients' conditions as a whole, looking at clinical signs and symptoms, as well as other tests to make their conclusions. About 1,400 of the patients involved have already died, but the hospital said the deaths are not likely to be connected to the test results. It has promised a thorough review of the cases as well as an investigation into the incident. A hotline has also been set up for patients to make inquiries. Secretary for Food and Health, Ko Wing-man, expressed regret and ordered the hospital authority to get to the bottom of it. A liver specialist told TVB News patients who do suffer liver problems would be over the range by 2 to 3 times, so that would be very clear to doctors. Patients' rights activist Tim Pang says hospitals should be accurate in all their testing. He says it's not acceptable for basic details such as gender data to be mixed up and hopes authorities will prevent a repeat of the incident. Reports out of South Korea say the North has built a new, taller launch tower that can launch longer-range missiles. The South Korean Defense Ministry says it's closely monitoring the situation. It speculates Pyongyang may be planning a launch to mark an important anniversary in October. North Korea is banned under UN Security Council resolutions from conducting tests using ballistic missile technology. But Pyongyang has repeatedly defied the ban.
A dramatic dashboard video released by authorities in the U.S. state of Texas shows how a routine traffic stop escalated between a white state trooper and a black woman who was later found dead in her jail cell. After initially calling the death a homicide, officials now say the case will be investigated as a murder. Alan Buckner reports.
28-year-old Sandra Bland was pulled over on July 10th for failing to signal a lane change. After running a check on Bland's driving record, the state trooper, Brian Encina, asked her to put out her cigarette, which she refused to do, insisting she's allowed to smoke in her own car. At this point, the trooper demanded that she get out of the car and pointed a taser at her.
Get out of the car! And then I will light you up. Get out! Wow. Now! Wow. Get out of the car! Really, for a failure to signal. You're doing all of this for
Get over there!
Right, yeah. Yeah, let's take this to court.
The two moved out of the camera's range. Off camera, a struggle can be heard as Encina arrested Bland.
You are such a pussy. You are such a pussy. No, you are. You're yanking around. Full traffic signal.
You are yanking around. Bland was taken into custody and charged with assaulting a police officer. 3 days later, she was found dead in her jail cell. Authorities called her death a suicide, saying she hanged herself with a plastic garbage bag.
There's a tragedy that happened here.
But yesterday, Texas Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick announced there would be a grand jury investigation into the death. The officer has been placed on administrative duty in the meantime. Texas State Senator Royce West said the video suggested Bland should never have been arrested in the first place. He said a transparent investigation is particularly important in the wake of the many allegations of police abuse against African Americans across the U.S.
that we want to make certain that people do not perceive this, anything we do as it relates to this investigation, as a whitewash.
At a memorial service for Bland, her mother made an impassioned plea for justice.
Now listen, let's be for real. That was my baby. She wasn't my convict. She wasn't the suspect. She was my baby.
Reed Veal acknowledged that her daughter had previously posted an online video blog saying she was struggling with depression. But she said Bland was excited about starting a new job at her alma mater, Prairie View A&M University. Alan Brookney, TVB News.
Staying in the United States now, and a teenager from the U.S. state of Connecticut may be in a heap of trouble after posting a video of his gun-shooting drone.
A video posted online showing shots being...
The U.S. Federal Aviation Administration is investigating whether the 18-year-old violated laws that prohibit the reckless operation of a model aircraft. The video shows the drone shooting from a semi-automatic handgun strapped to it. The teenager claims he made it with the help of a university professor.
And still ahead in the news tonight. Trial opens in attack on former Ming Pao editor Kevin Lau. Donald Trump reads out rival's cell phone number in public.
I can't believe that you're leaving before me. In fact, I'm issuing a new
Barack
executive
Obama,
order.
the funny man.
We demand that the future is going to be better than the past.
If you could produce abundant clean energy, it would solve many problems.
How can we ensure humanity's future?
And that's the future.
Tonight, Human Universe at 9:30 on Pearl.
I am happy.
Come on, louder.
I am very happy.
He's learning African drums, calligraphy, the usual. Next week it's ancient Babylonian hand-to-hand combat. Let's show your battle cry.
Wow.
Monster parents want only the best education for their kids. Frankel Dynamic Fat Burner Special. Monsters University on Pearl's Mega Movie.
海馬乳膠質感棉床褥，抗紫外老化、抗過敏，優質竹炭布面，吸濕吸異味，仲抗霉、抗滿、抗菌。我嘅 Perfect Mattress。
When a street sport turns deadly.
Did he use his skills as an extreme athlete to become a killer?
An amped-up suspect.
You got no proof, brah.
I think we will, brah.
Could X out Castle. Friday. Castle at 10:40 on Pearl.
We lost much on September 11th.
The tallest building in the Western Hemisphere.
The building is actually a very simple shape.
I changed the skyline. It's an awesome feeling.
Next Wednesday, Super Skyscrapers at 9:30 on Pearl. The time now is 7:43. The time check was brought to you by Seiko.
And a warm welcome back to TVB News. The trial of two men accused of involvement in an attack on former Ming Pao chief editor Kevin Lau opened today. The two defendants were allegedly offered $100,000 each to carry out the attack last year. Owen Fung reports.
Former Ming Pao chief editor Kevin Lau was escorted by police to the High Court. 4 men and 3 women were chosen as jury members. In his opening statement, prosecutor Nicholas Adams said the two defendants Yip Kim Wah and Wong Chi Wah started planning the attack around the Lunar New Year in 2014. As part of their preparation, Adams said they stole a motorcycle and a license and followed Lau. The prosecution also claimed that the defendants were offered $100,000 each. After they were arrested, the court heard that Yip told a police officer he was responsible for driving only. Meanwhile, Wong admitted he didn't know who Lau was at the time of the attack. The prosecution stated that the two